Hello. I'm recording this a little bit later than the video you are about to see because as I was doing my normal thing of transferring the files from my crappy camera to my computer in order to edit them and put them all together, I realised that the second half of the video you are about to watch did not get recorded, or rather it got recorded but then the file got corrupted because the connection between this camera and the USB is just not good. So, the second half of the video you're about to watch doesn't have any video. However, as I always do, the way I have my setup, the audio is always recorded. So, the second half of this reaction video is going to be essentially audio only. And it had to happen on the last episode of season 1. I mean, this is, a landmarker, a signpost for the future. And it happened on the very last episode, of the very last recording session. It's probably because it was, the fourth episode I've recorded today that the cable failed. So I deeply apologise, but the second half of this video is essentially going to be audio only. And with that said, on to the finale of season 1. Welcome to a landmark episode of this charmed man, a first time reaction series to the TV series Charmed, and we've reached the end of season 1. It's been an odd road, a lot more monsters of the week and a lot less mythology than I was expecting, but that's what the show is, and we have reached the end of season 1. Judging by the end of the last episode, we're mostly going to be dealing with that Inspector Rodriguez from Internal Affairs, who seems to be a warlock, or possibly a demon, but my guess is warlock. So we're probably not going to see the Halliwell's father, which I really thought he would show up before the end of the first season. We're probably not going to get anything else. We're going to have Piper dealing with the fallout that she has finally admitted that she loves Leo, but they can never be together. And apparently Leo's really, really old. Apparently he was in the Second World War, so he's significantly older than Piper, although not nearly as old as Angel was compared to Buffy, but that's an entirely different question. Andy is either suspended or fired or resigned from the San Francisco Police Department. That's a little bit unclear as to what exactly is going on with Andy, but he's made his decision, making the noble sacrifice for the sake of the Halliwell sisters, which is somewhat confusing for Morris. It's now getting to the point where Morris needs to be told about the whole witchcraft stuff, but whose responsibility is that? I don't think that Andy would, sort of out the Halliwells to Morris, but he needs to know at some point. I'm guessing that this episode is going to be dealing with the fallout from Inspector Rodriguez, the Warlock IA Inspector, and the episode is called, it's episode 22 of season 1, Deja Vu all over again, which is one of those yogiisms that are attributed to the baseball player from the 50s and 60s, Yogi Berra from the Yankees, who's got many of those famous little aphorisms, those famous phrases like Deja Vu all over again, it ain't over till it's over, is attributed to Yogi Berra. It's getting late early out there, it is also attributed to Yogi Berra. There's many others. He was known for these little bon mots that he said, and obviously gave the inspiration to the cartoon character as well. Deja Vu all over again. So, are we going to have more flashbacks? Are we going to have more going into the heritage of the sisters. Actually, maybe this means that the father will show up in the final episode, and that's certainly a possibility given the title. But I'm sure we're going to be dealing mostly with Inspector Rodriguez from IA. I guess we'll find out. So we're here. We are at the final episode of season 1 of the original series of Charmed. I think this is a landmark moment. So without further ado, let's get on with Deja Vu all over again. How long has he been stalking the sisters? Because those are stalker photographs. That's inside their house, isn't it? Oh, yes, it's in the solarium, but still.
Tempest, I never
expected to see me. Of course not. You
Who
are
the
worthy.
fuck is this?
What is the name you are using here?
sent by who?
I think you know who and why.
I can defeat the Charmed Ones on my own. I don't need any help.
So, they're clearly working for somebody else. And is this
What
the same
makes you
somebody
think you
that
have
Buckland and
actually
Hannah
found
were working
the
for
Charmed
earlier in the season?
You kidding?
Watch your tongue, Rodriguez, lest I split it for you. It's one thing to have found the Charmed Ones.
Is that a
It's quite another
Carradine?
to defeat them, as those who have gone before you have already discovered.
Then that might be one of the Carradines.
Grasshopper, did you think you could fool me? It would take more than years for me to forget the footsteps of my favorite pupil.
How have you been, old man?
Well, and you.
Good. The years have been good. Quiet and measured. Flowing slowly. Like water.
As you know, I'm quite keen on comic books. Especially the ones about superheroes. I find the whole mythology surrounding superheroes fascinating. Take my favorite superhero, Superman. Not a great comic book, not particularly well drawn. But the mythology. The mythology is not only great, it's unique.
And he's with the, I think they called him Tempus, which is Latin for time. Oh, so is this going to be sort of like a Groundhog Day episode? Yeah, Deja Vu all over again.
Now, how do you expect to get them together?
Trudeau?
So the idea seems to be you get them all at the same place at the same time, essentially baiting a trap using Andy.
Yes, I'll be there in an hour. Bye. You'll be where in an hour? Quake. Piper's doing that.
That
thing for the
cat
Food
is
Network,
definitely
and she's
up
wearing
to
her leather dress because
something.
She spilled marinara sauce all over the one she's wearing.
What was that?
Where did you park my car last night?
In the driveway? I think.
Mrs. Henderson's car.
Oh, thank God. I mean, that your car's in the driveway and I'm not in the doghouse.
Phoebe, Andy's in trouble.
What? Why?
What?
They
Oh,
think
yeah,
that he
because he
killed
actually
that
killed
Harold Ferris
Rodriguez.
cop? No
Actually
way.
killed
Maybe it's
the
a
other
setup
cop,
trying
didn't
to
he?
force him to reveal her secret.
Oh
see
shit,
that.
things are worse than I thought. Oh shit, dead Andy.
What is it?
Oh yeah, it's David Carradine. I mean, that voice, I thought it was one of the Carradine brothers. I can never tell them apart. I mean, obviously they were mainly famous from before I was born, but still. And honestly, I've never seen Kill Bill. Whichever one of the Carradines was in Kill Bill, but...
Please be careful. We don't know what kind of demon we're up against here.
You're up against a time demon
Ask me, I wouldn't be surprised.
called
if Rodriguez was
Tempest,
the
who
one whacked
has
his own
a
partner.
pocket
IA
watch.
already cleared him.
And something's just occurred to me. That car crash that they hear from inside, that's going to be a signpost, because the day's going to loop. This is going to turn into a Groundhog Day episode, because they're going to hear that car crash every morning, every time, and they're going to repeat the same day until they save Andy. That's the plot.
I know all about those unsolved cases of yours. And I know who's behind them, too. Who you've been covering for. It's very noble. You must care about her very much to give up your career for her. Prue Hollowell.
Yeah, the weird thing. I mean, willing to give up your career for her, but not willing to be with her because she's a witch. I mean, there's mixed signals. Still mixed signals.
Warn the Wizard of Oz.
More and more clocks. Yeah. This is the time loop episode.
Phoebe, over here. Oh, thank God. The segment.
Oh yeah, and they said something about being a source. That's going to be relevant for the time loop as well.
You don't recognize me, do you? It's Joanne.
It's a demon or a warlock.
Baker High, class of '92. Oh, sure, of course, Joanne.
Let me guess, she was the mean
What are you doing
girl.
here? I'm the segment producer.
Why'd you do that?
What am I supposed to say? That I'm a cash-strapped single restaurant manager who still lives in the same house I grew up in with my sisters?
And the cat. Don't forget our cat.
Maybe this isn't funny. Look, I don't know why
The
you're getting
cat
so
is
upset. She
evil.
is a freak.
But the good news is every other time we've been able to affect the outcome. Stop the demon or warlock before.
Before I get killed. Can I get that in writing?
Andy, you just have to be extra careful until we figure out who this demon is.
Yes, and since you're going to die tonight, let's bang like bunnies.
Andy.
I was just thinking. What if the demon is Rodriguez?
He's actually figured it out. He is a good detective. But here they are. They've got the Fantasy Ekler thing. You know, I'm going to die tonight. We're at our special place that we were teenagers together on. Let's bang like bunnies.
You can't be there, Andy. That's where you were in Phoebe's premonition when, just...
But that's the dilemma that Andy's in, because his natural and very heroic instinct is, I must be there, I must protect them. But if he believes Phoebe's premonition, which he does, then this is the place I shall die. But should I go there anyway? Shall I trust that the sisters can protect me, that we can affect that vision? Yeah, this is going to end badly. I mean, I think Andy's going to die, and then somehow, probably from a spell from the Halliwell sisters, it's going to be a time loop. And we're going to have the béarnaise sauce, and we're going to have the car crash outside as signpost. We're in the same day. Yeah. The cat might be evil, but it recognises evil in others.
Yeah, let's, because I want to know why I'm the one answering the door.
Because you're the one who knows martial arts, all right? That way if Rodriguez shows up and tries something right off the bat,
Kinda.
you...
I mean, yeah, I like it for the character, but Alyssa Milano just is not convincing doing the punching and kicking. Okay. That was a lot.
Phoebe!
That was too easy.
Oh my God. Oh God. Phoebe.
I mean, other
Is she okay?
other creatures have been killed or affected by their own weapons, by their own powers. Oh, they've changed it. Now Phoebe's dead. Enter night, exit light. The Sandman, he comes.
They killed me.
That was Wednesday night. This is Wednesday morning. All over again.
Groundhog
This
Day.
is why I
Again, I
haven't
mean,
seen
I said a few
Keep
episodes ago
resetting
they were
time
going to do a
until
Groundhog Day
your
episode
favorites.
eventually.
Only you will carry with you the memory of what has happened before.
But I mean, if he's the only one who remembers, oh, that's because that the other sisters, the other characters, are going to have deja vu. It's kind of interesting having a Groundhog Day episode where
Morning.
not everybody's
Morning.
aware they're in a Groundhog Day
Wait a
episode.
minute. Whoa.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the
I
cat
am freaking out.
knocking over the puppet mill.
Okay, I'll be there in an hour. No, I mean it. Pinch me. I want to make sure I'm awake because if I am having one killer deja vu.
So it's just a deja vu. Everybody gets them.
Okay, so Phoebe is going to have deja vu because her power is related to having visions of the past and future.
Let me see that.
Is it going to be the same vision though? Yeah, okay, so it's back to Andy dying.
I know everything, Trudeau. Everything, including the fact that Prue Hollywell is a witch. Now you're gonna arrange a meeting with her tonight, you understand? Or else I'm gonna bust your ass and expose hers.
What was that about? I'm not sure.
I mean, but having this sort of really aggressive attitude, I mean, because you know all the things that happen, but going in, you know, all guns blazing, is that going to help? Probably not, and that's probably the point.
Baker High, class of 92. Although I wasn't in that class.
Oh, sure. Of course. Joanne. Phoebe, how did you...
That's what I've been trying to tell you. I think we're in some funky time loop here.
This was post Groundhog Day. Just say Groundhog Day.
Freezer. I'll show you.
Catch you tomorrow.
Hey! Phil? Phil? Hey! Phil Connors! Ned?
Happily married, stinking rich? Well, I don't mean to brag, but... Okay.
Yeah, making sure you see
All
the
right, Phoebe, spill it.
engagement
Okay, the
ring.
best I could figure is some demon has cast a spell.
+1. Me. What is it?
This seems a little familiar to me, that's all.
Oh, she's having deja vu now as well. Okay. The power of love again.
Don't make me use my magic on you.
Now, is that a threat or a promise?
anything bad to
Because
happen to you.
you could have some fun.
Anything in there about time?
Oh, now
It spelled
Andy
her
is
story time, but
recognising
that's about it.
the
I'm telling you, this is all
the
part of his
cat's
evil plan.
recognising
I
Eve.
just haven't had enough time to figure it out yet.
Okay, just throwing everybody. Oh, and he still gets lightning bolt in the chest. And our two sisters are dead. Now, is the implication that the sand in that hourglass is actual time? So is there only a finite number of times he can actually do that?
This time I got 2 of them.
Interesting.
Third time is the charm.
If I touch that paper, I will have a premonition. The same one that I've had before.
But is it going
Where
to? Is
Andy
it
gets
probably
killed
still going to be the same one of Andy dead?
by a demon. You have got to believe me.
No, I believe you. The question is, what
For
do we do about it?
once,
Well,
I mean,
you've
the
gotta
amount of
go
times in
warn
this show that
Andy.
something supernatural happens, and the sisters don't believe the person who's telling them. I mean, that's another frustrating thing about this show. But at least this time they actually believe, or at least Prue believes Steve. With a gun! Keeping a low profile.
And he's going through all this just to kill me. No way, Prue. If he's as powerful as you say, then he's gotta be after you.
Annie, please just let us handle this. Whatever you do, you have to promise me that you'll stay away from the manor.
I can't promise you that, Prue.
But the thing is that if they don't have this meeting, then there's a reasonable chance that Andy won't even show up. So don't have this meeting. even if it is the perfect opportunity to, you know, where we were teenagers with the swing, you know, bang like bunnies. Okay, the cat might be evil, but leave her alone. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Is Prue okay?
Yeah, she's that cold.
I think you need a little bit more than just looking at her. Just, yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is the one that Andy actually dies. Go on, reset. Oh, shouldn't he technically be frozen? So should Phoebe be able to do that?
The day's gonna reset itself anyway. There's not a damn thing you can do to stop it.
Shut up. Come on, we have to wake up Prue. Prue?
Oh. I really hope this isn't like that episode of The X-Files where the only way to get out of the time loop is for a certain person to die. In this case, that would be Andy.
You son of a bitch! No!
This is Agent Dana Scully with the FBI.
This never happened before.
One thing I do know, though, is that I'm staying. You're not.
I don't understand.
He's dying?
I broke my promise, Prue. I came to your house tonight. Turns out Phoebe's premonition was one you couldn't stop after all. Weren't supposed to stop.
I don't think they would have this kind of scene if he wasn't dying. Is he gonna die? Is he actually gonna, you know, literally die? What? He only lost the one season. I mean, I really don't think they would have this type of scene if he was actually coming back. So, Andy's...
I'll always be there for you.
Is Andy dying? And now fading with the blue light. I mean, and it is like that episode of the X-Files. Was it Monday, I think? Where the girl who started the time loop, she's the one who must die in order to close the loop.
But if we break the time loop, we won't be able to save Andy.
I know. Prue, are you sure? No, I'm not.
But you're going to do it anyway.
Winds of time gather
With
around.
tears in her
Wings to
eyes.
speed my way.
Oh, so, okay, he's apparently going back to hell, and my guess is we're going to see him again. I mean, because, was it David Carradine? It was one of the Carradine brothers.
Prue.
I mean, that's a pretty big guess, and I'm guessing he's going to come back, but Andy isn't. And that's in flashbacks.
I will not untie him, Prue.
And are we going to see him
Get out of
again?
here
I mean,
before
that's a good
You stupid
good question. Okay, no, we're not going to see him again. But I mean, you know, essentially baiting him into doing it, so you do it in self-defense. I mean,
We may not be murderers, but we're no angels either.
and self-defense. I mean, perfectly legitimate mitigation. I mean, did the actor just want to bow out after the end of the first season? I mean, this definitely looks like Andy's, legit gone. I mean, because that scene with him, with the blue background and the mournful music now. I mean, if we have a sort of like a graveyard scene, a cemetery scene, which we now shit. And now, are they going to tell Morris? Because now kind of would be a good time to do it, maybe?
Well, it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous Monday morning here in the Bay Area.
She really needs another shtick. That one's getting boring.
I got you, babe.
Did you ever call to reschedule your segment?
No, I'm not going to.
Why?
I've decided to quit my job.
What?
And
Okay.
actually, I owe it all to Joanne.
Okay, so redirection for season 2. And from a couple of episodes ago, I mean, it's been established that Phoebe really wants a job. So much cleavage!
And we do good things together. Helps offset the bad things.
I'm gonna really miss Andy.
So will I.
It's gonna be very sad without him.
It had to be that the actor just
Something
wanted
tells
out.
me that he'll always be with us.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if we have flashbacks now
We
and
better get
again
ready for
with
work.
him. And closing the door again like in the first episode. Wow. Okay. Okay, well, I first off, I wanted to check, and I suspected, because it's the kind of thing that often happens, that the weather reporter would be, an actual weather reporter. But in fact, Nancy O'Dell seems to actually be a pretty big deal on American television. I mean, she's got, lots of gigs, including hosting on Access Hollywood. So, yeah, I mean, Nancy O'Dell seems to be a big deal. But right, and Andy's dead. Or he seems to be. I mean, they sometimes do have turnover at the end of a season. Going in different directions, actors leaving, actors wanting different things. I mean, I didn't expect it after season 1, but particularly with sort of like the main secondary character. I mean, Andy was essentially part of the main cast, and he's dead. Seems to be, because I mean, the thing is that when Andy, I mean, the whole episode was about Andy dying. I mean, and quite late, I started to suspect it was like that X-Files episode on Monday, I think it was, where the one girl needed to die in order for the time to close. But until that late in the day, I mean, the fact that Andy is, dead didn't really land with me, because just the previous episode, Leo had died and been brought back. So I was expecting exactly the same thing to happen with Andy. And I'm betting that's exactly why Constance M. Burge and Brad Kern said, I mean, let's do that to Leo in the penultimate episode, and then in the final episode, when we do it to Andy, we'll think, oh, they're just going to reset it again. But they didn't. I mean, they had a scene at the cemetery. Basically, unless we have zombies, which I'm actually thinking about it, we might have zombies in season 2. But unless we have zombies, he's in a casket, he's in a grave, he's in a cemetery, he's dead. With the minor caveat that there might be zombies in season 2. Which is a major shift. And also having Piper quitting her job. I mean, she never seemed particularly happy as the manager of Quake. Because in the first episode, I mean, she was getting a job as a chef with that awful guy with a crap accent. And then suddenly she's a manager. I mean, obviously things shifted between episode 1 and the rest of the season. I mean, like Roger and the chef with the crap accent both disappeared after episode 1. And I really, really want to see Roger again because that guy needs castrating. So, I mean, Piper's going off and apparently going to have a new job in season 2. And Phoebe, a couple of episodes ago, was making very strong indications that she wanted a proper job, an actual job. Way back in the early days of season 1, I said that it would be kind of interesting if, you know, Phoebe had a different job every week, and that would provide either an A plot or a B plot. I mean, what's Phoebe doing this week? I mean, we've had a couple of incidents, like when she worked at the auction house, she found the locket which belonged to Christina Milian, and when she worked at the real estate office, she had that subplot with, you know, not wanting to lie to her cheating boss's husband. So I mean, we did have that in, and then and also when she worked as the sidekick in the hotel lobby, that brought incidents as well. So I mean, we did have that, and honestly, I think that's not a bad place to go, because if we need a plot that starts in, I don't know, a photography studio, that's what Alyssa Milano's doing this week. If we need a plot that starts at a magazine publisher, that's what Alyssa Milano's doing this week. If we need a plot that starts in a fish cannery, that's what Alyssa Milano's doing this week. You know, there's stuff you could do there. But if the direction that either the creatives or Alyssa Milano herself said, no, I want a job, fine, go in that direction. And also have Piper go in her own direction. Off the top of my head, I think it could be interesting if she sort of runs a diner or something. You know, start small. You know, a bistro, you know, a little thing that she could, you know, not only do on her own, but afford on her own as well. And maybe even Alyssa Milano working alongside her. I mean, that could be interesting with the dynamics. Oh yeah, Prue was, you know, fired from Bucklands, but I don't think that's stuck because Andy covered for her. So I think she's still going to be working at Bucklands, unless she too wants something. I mean, there's so many different directions you could go, you know, between season 1 and season 2. I mean, so much stuff has changed, including apparently Andy's dead. That's completely blindsided me. Did not see that coming at all. And now the question is, and I think it's a reasonably urgent question for the beginning of season 2. What are they going to tell Morris? Is Morris going to figure it out for himself? Do they need to tell Morris? I think they do. At this point, I think they need to tell Morris because his partner's dead. Weird shit is happening. It's involving these sisters. What's going on? Sorry, we're witches. Makes sense. So, no, and the father didn't come back. I mean, the father, Vincent, or Victor, I can never remember what his name is, but he's probably going to come back. I'm sure we're going to have more flashback episodes, definitely with their mother, Patty, probably also with Melinda Warren, since both of those showed up in season 1. I think we're going to, those flashbacks are going to recur. And I think there's also a possibility for Andy to show up in flashbacks as well, if the actor wanted to do that. I mean, who knows why he left. Going in, seemingly going in very, very different directions for season 2. But that is going to be quite some time away for me personally. I mean, not necessarily for you, but I think I'm going to take a break from Charmed. I'm now about 9 weeks in advance, so I personally am probably going to take a bit of a break, but I'm planning on putting together a wrap-up, a special episode with a complete overview of season 1. my thoughts about the season, my thoughts about the directions which it did go in, the directions I wish it had gone in. I mean, I still think that Buckland and Hannah got very, very short shrift from this series. I wanted more from them, and I think there could have been more from them. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of that. I've also got sort of, clip show elements, little bits I've noticed here and there, little comments and observations that I can make using clips from the show. So yes, at some point, probably reasonably close after this episode is being released, which I think might even be in June or July by the time this is released. I mean, I'm recording this in March. And yeah, I'm that far in advance. So yes, the little red light is flashing on my camera despite the fact I've just put it on charge. So I better wrap this up. There will be an overview of Season 1, the entirety of Season 1, coming reasonably shortly after this. And then obviously we're going on to Season 2. And I have thoughts about the first season of Charmed. So look forward to that when it comes out, whenever I manage to do it. I mean, I don't need to worry about this for quite some time since I'm, so far in advance now, but for this episode and for this season of Charmed, I think that's all I have for you. So all that remains for me to say is this has been a presentation of the Yay, Nay or Meh channel, and I will see you next time where I shine a light on TV and cinema, both obvious and obscure.